Good afternoon to those of you on the East Coast. Good morning to those of you on the West Coast and Central Time Zones. Those who are listening from Israel and Europe, we want to wish you a good evening. Today, in many of the programs that we've discussed on this program, in terms of the opportunities we have to make a difference in the lives of bereaved families, whether it's widows and orphans, whether it's the younger siblings, whether it's parents, many of those programs really are orchestrated by our guest today, Yael Milnizki, who happens to be a social worker and one of the administrators for the Ministry of Defense. You know, we refer to her as an angel of God, really the Malach Hashem, because what she does and what her teams do for those who are suffering the unsufferable, and the way that she does it with incredible dignity, with thoughtfulness, and it's not a one-time act of chesed, it's not a one-time act of loving kindness, but this is a lifetime commitment. We'll have a chance to hear from Yael, what she does, what the team does, and how they try to give those who have to rebuild their lives under the worst of conditions, give them the opportunity to rebuild their lives, the tools to rebuild their lives, and the opportunities to try to move forward, be part of the Israeli people, be part of the Jewish world, move forward as mothers, as children, move forward as siblings, and move forward as parents. And today's talk should be extremely fascinating, and we'll have a chance to get an insight into what the Ministry of Defense does and into what Israeli society does. Yael, thank you. Really, thank you for taking the time, particularly today, the responsibilities that you have vis-a-vis your job, vis-a-vis your children, and you took out time to come and speak with us. Please, Yael, the floor is yours, as we say in America. Share with us some stories, share with us some of the programs, and give us an insight.
Thank you, Steve, for your kind words. I feel privileged to have the opportunity to come and to tell you a little bit about how Israel treats the bereaved families, because it's from the day that Ben Gurion, the early 50s, wrote in the when we declared on the Israel state, he said that we should treat the bereaved families and the handicapped soldiers as a unique population, special population with special rights, and should be treated like that. And this is our Torah from those days and until now. I must say that Iron Swords War has faced us with a new reality, a reality that wasn't familiar to us until the 7th of October, 2023. We have to deal with challenges and to adapt ourselves to the changing reality that is changing day by day. And we're trying to create, as a department, all kinds of unique programs and unique responses to the special needs of the families that we meet. I want to start with a story that will emphasize you a little bit about the challenges that we are facing. 7th of October, early morning, a family from one of the kibbutzim, Kfar Aza, woke up in the morning, heard the sirens, and got in the safe room. 2 parents, early 30s, 3 children. The old daughter is 5.5 years old. After that, another child, 2.5 years old. 3 years old, and a girl about 2 years old. The mother is pregnant with her 4th child. They got in the safe room and they stayed there. The father had a weapon with him because he was a member of the Kitat Konenut. And after a while, the terrorist got in the house and started shooting to the safe room. The father was injured, sincerely injured. He had a big wound in his arm and he started losing a lot of blood. The wife had to put her hand on the wound and stop the bleeding because he lost a lot of blood. And they stayed like that for many hours, I think almost 10 hours, when the children are sitting in the mamad in the safe room with the family, and she's holding her husband's hands and he's moving from conscious to non-conscious. And after about 10 hours, they started smelling smoke. The terrorist lightened fire outside the safe room. And she had to make a choice. The mother had to make a choice. Or she's staying with her husband and leaving her hands on his wound and trying to leave him alive, or she has to open the window and try to run herself and her children out of the room. Otherwise, everyone will die. And she told afterward that she and her husband looked at each other, and he told her, "Go, just go, leave me and go, save you and save the children." And it was the most difficult choice she had to make in her life. And she left him, and she took her children out of the window, and she went out of the window, and they hid. And a few minutes later, soldiers came and took them, and the husband did not survive. That can tell us a little bit about the profile of the families that we meet. We meet families with multi-child families, three children, and she gave recently birth to her fourth child. Young widows, early 30s, families that themselves, bereaved families that themselves were a part of the traumatic event. She and her 3 young children were a part of the traumatic event themselves, and they are suffering from traumatic symptoms, physically and mentally. They had to leave from one day to another their home. They were torn, forced to move out of their kibbutz to other place in Israel, strange place for them. The children had to leave their school, their kindergarten. She had to leave her work. She lost her husband. They had to leave their home, and trying to start a new life in a strange place. And that's the point when we meet the family. And it's a very, very low place that they are in, there as a family, and every individual in the family. And they have a lot of needs, and we have to come to meet the family and embrace the family and see how, with a lot of sensitivity, how do we slowly manage helping them to rebuild their lives from this low place that they are in? How are we helping them? What assist can we give them? So we're giving financial aid, of course, and we gave financial grants, immediate financial grants, that they could buy things to have in their new home. And after that, we're looking at the family, we're looking at the widow. What are your needs? You're pregnant. What can we do to help you? We look at the 3 little children. What can we do to help every one of them? And we do it slowly. The social worker gets in the family and starts building a connection that is based on trust and based on, we are saying, we are here for you to stay. There was a lot of units in Israel that wanted to help, but they were there for a few months. We are there to stay. So this is a dugma, this is an example for a family that we meet. And what we did with this family, I can also tell you about it. The wife that were pregnant, we built a program that is called Besides You. This program is for women that lost their husband while they were pregnant. We had more than 20 widows, women that lost their husbands while they were pregnant. Some of them first child of early 20s, some of them second child and third child, fourth and even fifth. And we said to these women, the messages we want to tell them, we are here for you in the process that you have to go through now, in the point that you are in your pregnancy. We will give you financial aid. We will find you, if it's a member of family or a doula, that will be with you from this point until the birth. We will guide her. We will give her tools how to help you, that you will not feel alone. We will give you assistance with your with the siblings, with your other children, because you're alone now. And we know that you have to take care of this family alone. You have help maybe from friends, from family, from community, but we know that you need help. So we gave them also financial aid for someone to be with the other children. And we also have a unique program for orphans that I will tell you about it, that can also give responses for the young children needs. And we are there for her from the minute we meet her in her pregnancy until she gives birth, and also afterwards. We help her buy the things she needs, like a bed for the baby and a crib and everything. We do not leave her alone, because we know that it's a very difficult process emotionally to go through alone. And if we're going back to the beginning of our conversation in the story that I told you, there are many widows that were a part of the traumatic event, and we have to see this also and pay attention to this, that they were traumatized. So, as I said, and I mentioned, the unique program for orphans, this is a program that we have started a few years ago, but we're facing a new reality now as well when we are talking about young orphans. We started this program about 4 years ago after we heard more and more voices of elderly orphans of the age of 30, 40, 50, even 60, that came to us and told you, where were you when we were young? Where were you? Where were the Ministry of Defense, the social worker that looked at me when I was a child who lost his father? You were in contact with my mother, but she not always was with attention to me. She was with her own grief. She had to take care of my brothers and sisters. She had to take care of income to the family, and I felt alone. I had a bar mitzvah. No one was there for me. I graduated school. No one asked me, what do I want to do? I felt alone. So we said, okay, we're listening to you, and we want to see how we can be involved in those young people in their lives when they are young. And how can we help them? I mean, what tools can we give them to be with high self-confidence when they are getting old? And the challenge now in this point of time is bigger, because we had about 300 orphans up till the age of 18 until the 7th of October. And now we were talking about approximately 500 more. We have almost 1,000 orphans up till the age of 18. Some of them are babies. Some of them are 2, 3 years old. Some of them are teenagers. We have all kinds of ages, and we have to think what they need. What are the responses that what are the programs that we can develop to help those young people? So, first of all, the aim of the social worker is to meet the young orphan, to meet him face to face. He does it through the mother, of course. She's the natural guidance of him, and she asks the mother, "Can I meet him?" Of course, it's easier when they are verbal when they are teenagers, and it's easier even to learn about them when they can have a conversation with them. And it's the ages of about 12 to 18 are the most important ages that we can see also results when they are older. And what do I mean? I mean that the purpose of this meeting of the social worker and the orphan is to get to know him, to ask him, what do you like to do? What are your dreams? What are you good in? What are your abilities? What are your skills? And of course, I want to know what are the challenges in your life? What are you coping with? How are you in school? How is it going in school? How is it going with your friends? So she's meeting him. It's not a one meeting, of course. It's a follow-up meetings, and it's a process of knowing, like making him an intake. And after she has a full picture of the orphan, of the child, she can start building a program with his mother, with him. Maybe there are more people in the natural environment of the child that she can consult with, like the guidance at Sofim, or the teacher, maybe if they had good connection, or the basketball coach. And they sit together and they say, how can we take this child, this teenager, and help him to take his skills and to develop his skills to the top place that he wants. If he says to us, I'm playing basketball, once a week, twice a week, but I want to be a basketball player. So we will find him the best coach in his natural area that could come to him once a week, twice a week, 3 times a week, work with him privately, work with him on basketball and maybe other skills, because this is what he wants. If a girl says, I like baking, I like it. It does good to me. I feel relaxed. I like it. I'm good at this. We will search for this particular man or woman that could be suitable for her. And I have a lot of examples. And I want to say that the unique program is on a lot of fields. We find it in cooking, and in sports, and in music, and computers, and science. And you can imagine, because there are endless topics that children are interested in, and medicine. And if we give them this unique program, we call it, it's not just, something that a child does once or twice a week with his friends from class or whatever. He does it alone. We find him the best professional that can guide him. And it's like a mentor, okay? A mentor that the child looks up to him, that he comes to meet him and he's just minded to him. He doesn't look on his brother, his sister, his mother. He looks only at him and his needs, and try to take him to the top, to the highest place he can take him. And if the program succeeds, and we have many examples that the programs finished when the orphan, got to the age of 18, and they said, what I got from this program is something that I cannot describe in words. I feel strong now. I feel confident now. I'm not afraid. I can say what I want. I know what I want to learn when I finish the army. I want to be a doctor, and when I want to be a vet. And the chance that I had when I was at the age of 15, 16, 17 to meet this vet, and he guided me, and I spent times in his clinic, watching him dealing with animals. It gave me something that I could not have if I did not have this program. So we give them tools, and we give them we want to give them the feeling that they are worthy, that they have a lot to offer the world, because their father wasn't there to tell them how good they are, and how talented they are, and how great they are. So they hear this voice through us. And it's an amazing program. I believe in it, and I'm living and breathing this program for the last 4 years. And if I have a few examples if you want to show the slides or.
Yes, if I could
Okay.
just make one comment
Yes.
before you do show the slides. To those who are participating on this briefing,
Yes.
this is one of the many programs that Yael oversees that we've been asked to fund for the bereaved families. In this case, it's specifically for each and every widow. I'm sorry, for each and every orphan.
Okay.
And in Yael, my understanding is that there's a potential to do this as well for each and every younger sibling who lost an older sibling. So we're dealing first and foremost with the orphans.
Yes.
And in this war right now, we have close to 500 brand new orphans who've become orphans over the last 9 months, as well as we have 1,300 young men and young women who are younger siblings who have lost an older brother and older sister. Then this is one of the many programs that Yael and the team at the Ministry of Defense oversees, and that we have the opportunity to partner and to fund this program. Thank
Steve,
you.
I want to say something about the siblings because it's very important. Siblings tell us many times that they feel that they had a double loss. They lost their brother or sister, and they lost their parents because their parents are not the same, and they are grieving, and they don't pay attention to them as they did before the tragedy, and they're all alone. Their loneliness is very, very strong, this feeling. So I think that for siblings, it's very important if we can also develop this kind of program for them, because I think that they really need it.
Yeah. One other comment I want to make to our participants who are listening, as we speak, there's a group of over 80 high school students who have come, which is fascinating, because the very counselors that have brought them to America, and they spent time this week in Boston, they spent this week in New York, they had a Shabbat in Teaneck, New Jersey, they spent time in Englewood, New Jersey, they're going to Hershey Park. So they're all over, they're experiencing America, experiencing the family of the FIDF, who's there not only funding this program, but supporting them, participating with them.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
The advisors, the counselors that come with them on this traveling camp up and down the East Coast, they themselves had lost an older sibling. They themselves had become an orphan through the Army. They experienced what these, how should I say, brand new, fresh, over the last 8-9 months who've lost a loved one. So the advisors themselves experience this. And what's crucial here is that, as Yael articulated, they don't want to burden their parents. Their parents are suffering terribly.
That's true.
At school, they feel like an other. No one really understands what they're going through. The friends that they make on these trips and the bonds and the network that gets created of people who can relate to them, whether it's the madrichim, the counselors, or whether it's their fellow campers who are going through the exact same thing they're going through. Not only does it give them a chance to, so to speak, escape the misery for a few weeks, but it's more than that. It gives them the chance to bond, to go through a catharsis, to articulate, to express to someone who is a very safe space, who's experienced exactly what they've experienced. And to those who are participating on the Zoom, we need help funding this. We're bringing hundreds and hundreds of kids. Unfortunately, it is hundreds. It'll be this summer. We'll be having the same programs for the next 6-7 years because of the huge amount of orphans and the huge amount of bereaved, younger siblings. And again, all of this is done really in partnership, but guided by Yael and her team at the Ministry of Defense. Yael, please, I'm sorry for interrupting.
No, it's you've said a lot of important things that we should emphasize, because I think that the young population, the young children, if they're orphans or siblings, are a population that we need to invest in and give them attention, because they're building themselves and they're building their personality and their resilience for life. And we should give them tools how to move on with their lives after this big tragedy. If it's a parent or if it's a brother, we have to be there when they're in their young age. We can see here an example of a child, and today 16 years old. He lost his father when he was 6 years old in Tzuk Eitan. It was 2014, when he just started school. He finished kindergarten and started school. For many months, he didn't want to do anything. He has a brother and a sister, and he didn't want to cooperate with anything. But he liked surfing. It's the only thing he liked to do as a child. It took almost 2 years that the social worker was able to make a direct connection with him because he didn't want to meet her. Although the mother allowed, he did not want. And she managed to have a direct connection with him. And she found a surfing guide for him. And what this child has gone through since the point that he started, and he did it for 3 years. And now he's 16 years old. And this guide was living far away, but people told the social worker that he is someone that she should take. He knows how to make a connection, and he knows how to do the job with young children. And she insisted on it, and he drove from far away to meet this child twice a week. Summer, winter, they did not skip any training. There were a period that the guide was abroad. He went for a few months to travel in the world. He did not, he kept a connection with this young child, and they talked on the phone, and he sent him pictures, and he was a role model for this child. And it was so important, and he's in a different place now. It's a big success. This is a child that lost her father 2 years ago in a plane crash. She was a pilot. And they used to do gymnastics together. As you see before, he lifted her up in one hand. And this is the time, this is what their quality time, father and daughter. And after he died, she said she was very sure that that's what she wants to continue doing, and she's now participating with a guide that does this kind of gymnastics. You can see on the other slide, and she's just continuing to do what she did with her father, and it has a lot of meaning for her, that she's continuing something that they had from their small world of both of them. And the third slide that I want to show you is a little child that just lost her father a few months ago in Haravot, in Iron Swords War. She's 9 years old. She's Druze. I must say that a unique program for orphans, it's not an immediate program because it takes time. It takes time to know the child. It takes time to understand from him what he wants to do. And there are children that knows immediately, and the connection is very, it's going well from the beginning. And many others, it takes more time. And also, this program does not talk about presents. We do not want to give a present and to go away. We want to see they're progressing, and we want to see results, and we want to see how they are taking this program and doing something useful with it. So this child, first, for a few months after her father died, she was very closed, and did not want to speak to anyone. And she liked drawing. And the social worker found her a drawing teacher, and she started not only to draw, but she's starting to express her feelings by drawing. She's not so verbal, but she expresses very, very personal emotions through her paintings. So those are just 3 examples of, another example, because this program also talks about group interventions, because sometimes the child from his own reasons, does not want to do something alone. He wants a friend with him. He wants a group with him. He feels more secure. And also in a group, you can work not only on personal skills, but also of group skills. Children that have some difficulties in connection with friends or something like that. If you put them in a group with that talks about some topic that interests them, they can improve many fields in their life. So this is a bike group for Druze orphans that they wanted, they're approximately the same age, between 13 and 15. And they came once a week with a biking guide, a formal biking guide. He just took them he taught them how to ride, and he brought bikes with him, and he has a big car, a big truck, and he bought the bicycle with him, and they met once a week. This program went on for 2 years. They met with him. They became a group that was so close to one another, and they got also the personal knowledge with riding bicycle on the field, and also they got friends. They got each other. And the things, the group, the meaning of group is very, very, it has a lot of meaning when you talk about bereaved families.
Yael, could I just interject for those who are listening, those who are participating, the Druze community in Israel, which is not just true in Israel, it's true wherever they are throughout the Middle East. Their culture, their mentality is they're extremely loyal to the nation that they're a part of. And just to give you an example, 88% of all Druze men join the IDF. That's a higher percentage than the percentage of Jewish men that are in the IDF. That's number one. Number two is most of the Druze, when they join the IDF, they become, in Hebrew it's called lochamim, they become combat. So by definition, if everyone is joining combat units, they're going to have a very significant mortality rate. And the Druze have fallen for Israel. The Druze Israelis, many of them have sacrificed their lives for Israel, as has been the case here in this war over the last 9 months, to protect Israel from Iran and its 6 proxies. And because of that, there's a high percentage of orphans amongst the Druze community. And you see the beauty of the Ministry of Defense. We don't care whether you're Jewish, whether you're Christian, whether you're Muslim, whether you're Druze. You participated in the IDF, and Yael and her team will be with you the rest of your life. You might be the widow, you might be the orphan, you might be the parents. And the Druze community has unique special needs, and Yael will have the right social workers that can communicate, that appreciate their culture. It might be Druze social workers. It might be this kind of And I just wanted to share with our participants, the sensitivity and the love that Yael and her team have for each and every family.
Yes, Steve, it's very important what you said, because we have we have to have multicultural treatment for the families. We have Bedouin social worker, we have Druze social worker. We know that when we talk about Bedouins, they usually live in villages that are really isolated. It's difficult to get to the village, and it's difficult to get out of the village. And most of the women does not drive, and the father died and was killed, and they find themselves really isolated, but they are children. So we find solutions. There was a Bedouin child 2 years ago. They wanted to play soccer. He wanted to play soccer. He liked to do that. He wanted to get professional in it, but he could not go out of his village. His mother didn't have a driving license. No one could take him. We found a guide, Bedouin soccer guide, that he took his car. We paid him, of course, and we included it in the whole program. But he went to the village. He took him with his car. Took him to the practice and took him back home afterwards. We find solutions for anything. We always get out of our box when we talk about a unique program for orphans, because we don't have other opportunity.
Yael,
yes.
share with us, because that's something that Friends of the IDF is funding, the family experience, the family retreats to Cyprus?
Yes, yes. Those family retreats, I connect them to what you've said before about the siblings, that the fact that they are together, a group of people that had common experience. This is, I think, is one of the most strong things, experiences that you can give a family in the moment of grieving. The therapeutic journey in Cyprus takes place in Cyprus, in an isolated place, beautiful isolated place, I must say. It's not in Israel, when Israel is at war. It's not when you always hear the news and everything. You just take them out from this mess for a few days and put them together in a beautiful, silent place. And we give them an opportunity to be together without all of those noises. Those places, they have psychological therapy and all kinds of therapeutic activities, community support, and discussions with bereaved families. The chance that they have there to move from personal treatment that they just now feel that they want to have to give themselves, if it's yoga, if it's massage, if it's something other that relaxes them, and then they move to a conversation with other parent or other siblings or other widows that had just had a loss, and feels they look at each other's eyes and they know, they speak with their eyes because they had the same loss, the same experience, and they can share what they feel, and they can share the difficulties that they're facing. And it's very, very strong. We heard families, parents, siblings, widows that were there, and they came back to Israel differently. They came with hope. They came with some resilience. They came with a feeling, a strong feeling that we are not alone. We are not alone. We have people in our surroundings that are there for us. We do not have to go through this alone. And I think that those feelings of understanding and hope and meaning gives them a feeling that they have a future. Because when something like this happens, many people say, my life is over. My life is over. I don't see any light. I'm in this hole, in the deep hole. Leave me alone. But in many cases, the people that can give them a hand and take them out slowly from this hole is people that went through the same experience. And it's very, very strong. It's very, very emotional. And it gives them hope, and it gives them hope that they could maybe someday, sometime, have meaningful life that they will maybe be happy. We can see it also very strongly in the program of embracing families, of Mishpacha Leman Mishpacha. When we get together, a bereaved member of the family, parent, widow, brother, that who had lost his family member a few years ago, 10, 15, 20, with a parent that just lost his child, if it's two parents. And this gathering of two, I'll take for example, bereaved mothers, is very, very strong, because the mother that had lost her son 10 years ago, and now she went back to work, or she had some grandchildren that were born since this tragedy, and she found something that she likes to do, and her life went on. She's still holding this black hole inside of her, but she has a life around this hole. And she looks at the mother that has just lost her son a month ago, and that she sees no hope whatsoever. And she said to her, look at me. I was in your place. Look at me now. I'm happy. Yeah, I can say I'm happy. I will never get over my son's loss, and it will always be inside of me. But I live with this hope, and it's possible. It's possible. Look at me. It's possible. And we have a group, when after Iron Swords War began, we had many families that lost their child 10, 15 years ago, came to us and said, we want to help. Tell us, how can we help? And we said, we can help you help the new families that are joining to the bereaved families now. We can help you. And we opened groups with professional guidance for this grieving parents that volunteers for new parents. And we guide them, because we have to help them. We have to help them lishmor, to save themselves also, because they're also bereaved families. We should not forget that they're not professional therapists. So we guide them, and we give them a place to speak and tell us how they feel when they meet the young families now. We have a bereaved mother. She's about 60 years old, and she's meeting for a few months now a new bereaved family, a mother, the same age of her. They are both divorced. They both lost a son, and they were left with one son. They both have the same profession. So we do attempt to do a right matching.
Yeah.
And this young Shadchanut, yes, and they have a lot in common. So this young mother gets a lot of strength from this other mother.
It's interesting. We have a friend. She lost her husband when she was pregnant with her first child. And she said all that she wanted to do was to be buried in the grave with him. She didn't want to go on. You know, today she's obviously in a very different place. And when she goes...
It's a daily struggle.
Yeah. But when she speaks to someone, it's very different than if a guy like me or a stranger speaks to them, because she was there. You know, she was in their shoes. Same thing happened to her. No matter what she says, the power of her words and the credibility that she has is so different than anyone else.
True.
Which is, you know, we're all familiar with Miriam Peretz, you know, Miriam Peretz, who lost two boys at war. If she sits and she talks with a bereaved mother, it has a lot more weight than if it's a guy like me or a stranger who cannot.
Even a therapist that he's as a professional therapist, and he studied, and he's an expert in bereavement and everything. The meeting with the eyes that meet with the people that had the same experience, it's the most strongest thing. And parents and bereaved families say it. It's not something that we think, that they say it themselves. So we have to invest in these connections, because it increases the resilience of families when they see families that are living a good life, although they had such a tragic loss.
We want to thank you, really. I think anyone who listens to you, anyone who's watching you now, they just see that this is not a job, it's not a profession. This is it's a life of chesed. It's a life of caring and a life of giving. And, you know, we've had the blessing of working with you and watching your team and the good that you do. You know, and it also, I think, our participants, those who've seen Saving Private Ryan, everyone knows about the knock on the door, the casualty officer. But the difference in the Israeli army is that it's not just a knock on the door. Every one of these relatives, be it a parent, a child, a spouse, a sibling, you'll have a casualty officer dedicated to you the rest of your life. As long as you live, Yael's team at the Ministry of Defense will be looking after you. And that's something that is unique about the IDF. It just shows the humanity, the decency, the care on the human level that the IDF and that the MOD have, the Ministry of Defense have, for each and every family member, for those who have made the ultimate sacrifice. Yael, do you want to share with us any closing thoughts or any other ideas that you want to share with us?
I would like to say, first of all, that personally I'm proud working in the bereaved families department for almost 20 years. I feel that as a citizen and a Jewish woman, I'm feeling privileged to have the right to working in this department. I must say that many people asked me through the years, how are you managing to do this so many years? How are you managing to work with such sadness and such tragedies all day? How are you managing it? And I always say that I get strength from the families I meet. When I see families, and I saw a lot of families through the years that are able to build themselves with this hope that will be there forever and ever and ever, but they are grateful for their lives and they develop a career and they were able to be happy for the other family members when they were wedding or birth or everything else. And they had succeeded of finding meaning for their lives. It could be meaning with a professional, with a hobby, can be everything. But they managed to do that. That gives me strength. That gives me strength, and I'm telling that I'm very proud to be a part of this process of the families and look at them and be even, just a witness to the way, to the journey that they are doing from the day that their life has changed. They always say we have a life until the knock on the door, and the other life from the knock on the door. And I'm just feel privileged to be a part of this journey, and that is all. And I want to thank you also, the FIDF, that you have been a very loyal friend for us. We feel, I can tell you personally, I just came back from Los Angeles from a summit, and I felt very hugged and very welcomed, and people talked to me and asked me, and I felt that was sincere and very warm, and it made me feel very good. I felt that we have the Jewish people, we have strength. We're not alone. Even if you are in the United States and we are in Israel, we feel your support. And I want to thank you for that.
Yeah, it's our blessing and it's our privilege to be able to partner with you. And you let us know what we need to do. And we don't say that all the time. We have budgets, we have responsibilities, but when it comes to the people who've made the ultimate sacrifice, and you're the one who's nurturing them, you're mentoring them, you're caring for them, what you just let us know what we need. And I think I speak on behalf of everyone who's participating here. When it comes to these children, these spouses, these parents, these siblings who've made the ultimate sacrifice and having lost, like you said, their life starts anew. Their life starts all over again. And it's a tragedy that no one can put into words.
True.
And you're taking care of them, and it's our job to partner with you and to support you.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Steve.
We want to wish you and your family strength. We want to wish Am Yisrael, the nation of Israel, strength, Medinat Yisrael strength, and of course the IDF. They're doing an incredible job, making the ultimate sacrifice. But ultimately, it's not just Israel, it's not just the Jewish people. Humanity is the beneficiary of this. Preventing Iran and its 6 proxies from destroying the world, may not be that humanity understands it. It may not be that Europe understands it, that everyone in America understands it. But those who get it, those who are wise, understand what's at stake here. And they're making the ultimate sacrifice. And we're grateful to you, and we're grateful to them.
Thank you.